What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Now that the newest SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, has been released and I've reviewed all 3 movies, today we're going to rank the trilogy from the worst to the best. I'll leave a link to the playlist with the reviews of all 3 movies and the show in the description in case you missed any of them. But in the meantime, let me know in the comments what your thoughts on each of the SpongeBob movies were. Which one was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite? Let me know in the comments so we can discuss. As a reminder, this is just my list and it's not a definitive ranking. Also, make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you like these reviews, as it helps me out immensely by getting my channel out there and growing the community. And if you are new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases, older films, hidden gems, and so much more on a near daily basis. But let's not waste any more time and let's get into the ranking. In last place is the second film, Sponge Out of Water. Now, to be absolutely clear, I actually like this movie. I don't think there are any bad SpongeBob films. This is still a fun, delightful experience. While the story was conceived by series creator Stephen Hillenburg and then current showrunner Paul Tibbitt, the latter of whom directed the film, the script was written by the 2 writers of the Kung Fu Panda movies and the Trolls movies for DreamWorks. And when you realize that, it makes a whole lot of sense. Because while it still maintains the essence of who SpongeBob is for the most part, the style of jokes does feel like the stuff you can see in a DreamWorks movies. It's not so much characters saying things in this bizarre or offhand way, but to be clear, there will still be throwaway lines, it's just there's more of a dry sense of humor to it. Like, characters may point out how something might not make a whole lot of sense, or they'll move off the joke even quicker than normal, and for the most part, it's still really funny. It's just the main reason this landed in last place for me was I don't think the live action stuff was so strong. You have Antonio Banderas here as the villain, and the film will cut back and forth between him on the surface and the animated stuff in Bikini Bottom, and it wasn't as funny to me. He tries matching the energy of the animated characters, and I don't blame him at all for trying, but some of it comes off as really forced to me. On top of that, while it's still very funny, it doesn't resonate as much on an emotional level this time around. Everything in this felt like an extended gag rather than an emotional beat, even as the stakes would increase. And to me, it felt more like an extended special episode of the show that you'd see air straight to Nickelodeon, rather than a cinematic, grand, epic journey. So I was a little let down by it, but to be clear, it still works overall. In second place is the third film, Sponge on the Run, and I can already feel the hatred that's about to come my way for saying this. I know a lot of people either found this to be underwhelming, mediocre, or just okay, and people have been pretty vocal about making their disdain for this film known, and I totally understand where those criticisms are coming from. I get it, but I still really enjoyed the movie. The main reason this has come under fire is due to a 10-minute long sequence in the final act where we get what's essentially one long shameless promotion for the new spin-off show, Camp Coral, which is not just so overly kid-friendly, which goes against what made SpongeBob so enjoyable to begin with, but it also rewrites certain aspects of the show, like saying SpongeBob met Sandy and Mr. Krabs as a kid, where it's clearly shown in the first episode this is the first time they've ever interacted. And to be clear, I really don't like this part of the movie. You could have removed it and condensed this part to a 1 or 2 minute long sequence and you would have still gotten the same effect. It actually would have been an improvement, but the thing is, it's still just one part of the movie. It's 10 out of 90 minutes. For me, everything that came before it and everything that came after it worked. I found this to be an absolute blast, that one part of the movie aside. I think the live action stuff here landed much better than the second movie. I felt the jokes were absolutely hilarious, especially this one long sequence where SpongeBob and Patrick go to Atlantic City and become gambling addicts. And on top of that, it had that grand, epic feel that the first movie had, with a very cinematic essence about it. It had compelling emotional beats, it highlighted some nice aspects about the characters' relationships, and the further along the journey it went, the stakes felt continuously increasing. So that one 10-minute sequence aside, I still found this to be a great time. But in first place is the first film, the SpongeBob SquarePants Movie, and I'd like to think it's not hard to see why. This was made while the show still had all of its original crew members intact. Stephen Hillenburg, the series creator, directed it. Everyone who wrote this were also writers on the show. It was developed in the same manner as the original run of the show, so it felt like a grander, more ambitious episode of the show that also worked perfectly for the big screen. For those who aren't aware, this was originally meant to serve as the series finale, and because of that, Hillenburg wanted to make sure that it went out with a bang. At least that's what he thought the show's fate was going to be. And not to say that the show didn't have its emotional moments, but this is by far the most high stakes and emotional SpongeBob ever was up until that point, and arguably still is to this day. And what made it hit so hard are the scenes where SpongeBob and Patrick feel defeated, feel like they were at the end of their road, thought they were done for, and still always managed to take the good with the bad the entire time. That sense of optimism was always what made the show work so well, and it translated brilliantly here. On top of that, of course, it's also just hilarious, filled with all the usual types of jokes featured so prominently in the first 3 seasons, from random throwaway lines to gross close-ups and bizarre sight gags, with the mixing of live action also working incredibly well. If you're a fan of the early run of the show, I'd say it's difficult not to like this one. My only issues come down to minor nitpicks, such as the exclusion or sidebarring of supporting characters, but other than that, it's an excellent finale to the original run of the show, and even if you're not a loyal SpongeBob fan, chances are you'll still enjoy this. And that's the SpongeBob Trilogy. This was a fun little journey to take, and seeing the second and third movies was a much better experience than I was anticipating, considering I'm really not a big fan of the show after the first movie was released. But I will say, it was especially nice rewatching all the early episodes as well in anticipation of this, with all the nostalgia coming back. I'm thinking of doing a list of my favorite episodes from those first 3 seasons as well, just because I have so many fond memories of them, so potentially stay tuned for that, along with more movie reviews coming soon. So let me know, what's your favorite SpongeBob movie? Did you agree with this list? Did you not agree with it? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and keep having fun with film.